What is up, everybody? I am Baron Young. Welcome to Let's Play Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. Now, this game is very nostalgic to me. When I was a kid, I used to own the Super Nintendo Entertainment System on the console, and well, I used to play this a lot when I was a kid. Me and my cousins, we would spend our days after school trying to beat it up. At the end of the day, I remember we used to take about like 2 months or so to completely finish the game. And if I understand correctly, it usually takes about like only 2 or 3 hours, if you sit in front of the console all day to play it nowadays. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to do a playthrough of this because I used to try and finish this game as fast as I could, but I'm not a speed runner. In fact, I just like to play the game for the enjoyment of it. So, and I've always dreamt about making YouTube videos on my playthrough. That's exactly what I'm going to do today. So right now I'm going to start a new game, and just for the sake of this playthrough, I'm going to name the protagonist Baron, for the sake of the channel, although we know very well his name is Link. But yeah, so let's do it. So right off the bat here, we have the titular Princess Zelda contacting the protagonist for help telepathically. And the story is very simple, as this usual bad guy trying to take over the world, and you're the only hero can save it. And the story is pretty straightforward. I mean, across all the Legend of Zelda games, it's always simple. I think. And right here we have Link's uncle, the protagonist's uncle, saying that he's going to leave the house. He's telling us not to leave the house, but we're going to do it anyway because, we don't take orders from NPC in video games. Right here we're going to take the lamp first, which is going to be used inside the dungeon. Very quickly here, we're going to make our way to Hyrule Castle, which is conveniently located right to the north of Link's house for whatever reason. But you must be some kind of big shot to be able to live nearby the royal castle. But we'll let them. We don't care about video game logics, right? We don't let video game logics get in the way because logics take away the fun. And right here we can see Link's uncle. He got beaten up pretty badly, and some swordsman he turned out to be. So we are gonna take his sword and shield, and we will fulfill the mission that he has failed to do. So you see these little standard soldiers here. They don't give a damn about you, even if you're hitting them, because they're just equipped with daggers for whatever reason, because you're the security of the Hyrule royal castle, and you cannot be bothered to get better weapons. Right here we have the more advanced one who's using the swords, of course, but they still die in 2 hits anyway, so we question why they are given such weak armors to begin with. So right now we're gonna make our way through the castle. I'm not even sure if I'm going the right way. I don't necessarily remember everything from my previous playthrough, and you have to understand that this game is quite old. Yes, it is still a popular game, and everybody is like trying to play it whenever they can, but I'm using whatever I remember from my old playthroughs as a kid. And yeah, I actually still watch these videos on YouTube, but I tend to not remember everything. So we're gonna use one of those simple spinning attack here, but still can't take this guy in 1 hit. So we need to kill him off in order to get a key. And now we have the map, but we're not gonna use it because Hyrule Castle is like one of the easier navigation maps around here. You can just walk through it and you'll know. We're gonna push this guy right down here. We're gonna try to kill this guy too. So yeah, and actually, if you ask me, the Link to the Past is one of the more well-made games, in the sense that it's not exactly a linear game. You are free to do whatever you wish when you start to get out to the overworld, but then again, it's also made in such a way that you don't have to play it linearly, because side quests are very popular in this game. Right here we're going to collect the boomerang. Now we're going to change it immediately because this is a very good equipment. Saves us a lot of trouble having to go through all the other stuff. Right now we get a small key which is needed to open the door. Speedrunners usually ignore the boomerang, but yeah, as I mentioned, we collect it because the utility of the boomerang is very useful, especially early in the game. But no, sorry about that. Actually, it's also good later in the game when you actually upgrade it to the second level. But we're gonna talk about that later. Right now, we're gonna have to stun this guy, kill him off. I guess we're going to take up the mini boss. Oh yeah, I'm going to collect rupees too because you know, money is very important later in the game. I mean, if you care that much. But we're going to try to kill this guy in 2 hits using pots because who needs swords when you have pots lying around waiting for you to use them? Right here we have the big key which opens the door for us to save Zelda, and she's going to tell you a lot of you know, story stuff which actually. Oh, sorry, I picked the wrong choice. You know, repeating everything and all. This really reminds me of the owl back in the Ocarina of Time. You know, the new Legend of Zelda game for Nintendo 64. So you're gonna be very careful when you mash the A button, you know, to skip dialogues and stuff, because once you pick the wrong choice, it's gonna repeat everything all over again, and you don't really want that, especially when you're speed running, you know. But since we're just doing a casual playthrough right here, so we can forgive that for now. But right now we're gonna make our way back up the top, and we can skip all these battles because these shortcuts are conveniently located all around Hyrule Castle. And we're gonna play a little bit Metal Gear Solid style by, you know, sneaking past all these guards without them noticing, which is very convenient, you know, in a game where it allows you to play how you want to, with different techniques and all. Yeah, I think I'm going the wrong way right here, right? But it doesn't matter because either way you're going back to the front of the castle anyway, so. So actually, Princess Zelda, she gives you a couple of hints when you move around the castle, but all in all, A Link to the Past doesn't really have much hand-holding compared to a lot of games these days. So, I mean, back then, if you managed to complete this game, you're considered a very good gamer because it's not very straightforward, to say the least, you know. But right here we're already in the castle dungeons, so it's pitch dark here. Usually you might want to equip the lamp to light up those torches, but you know, if you have played this game plenty of time enough, you actually already memorized some of the routes which you want to take. But just have to worry about some of the enemies because these guys really hurt a lot when they touch you, so we really don't want to get hit a lot. And it's not like there's a boss battle at the end of this, but still, with only 3 hearts, you're not exactly very durable, to say the least. And but we know that the risk is there. Right here we get a small key, and what am I doing here? So we try to move further in, and eventually we'll reach the sewers, but these waters are shallow and we can walk right past them. So, which is very good because it doesn't limit your movements. Still have to be careful of some of the enemies because they can fly through the waters. But if we have played this game plenty of time enough, you already know where to expect all the enemies coming from. And it's still dark here, but we know there's definitely something to collect around here. No? I think I don't remember exactly as well. Yes, there's the key. One of the enemies in the room holds the key, so that's why we have to go to the left first, bait the 2 bats and walk right past them, open the door. Okay, right now the room is fully lit again, so we'll go past all these enemies because unlike Legend of Zelda 2 Link's Adventure, where there's like, you know, the leveling system, we don't have to like grind levels in this game, so you can skip enemies whenever you want to, just try not to get damaged too much. And in this room there's going to be a trap, so if I remember correctly it's going to be this right switch right here. And there we go, we already completed the, if I can say, the prologue of the game. And now we're going to give some exposition in terms of stories and the prophecy or whatnot. Of course, we're gonna skip all those because it doesn't really matter, and it's just a gameplay playthrough. And we're gonna pick yes this time. So right off the bat, we're gonna get one extra heart, full heart, which but outside in the world later, we're gonna have to rely on heart pieces. Where in the Link to the Past, if you collect 4 heart pieces, you will get a full heart, which you can actually see in your menu here. But it's still too early in the game to talk about all those. So yes, and then now you have the most iconic Legend of Zelda overworld theme, which we're gonna hear a lot in this game. First place we're gonna go is to Kakariko Village, the most popular village in the game, and it's gonna be reused a few times. But before that, we're gonna go through the Lost Woods for side quests for an item which is it might be quite important later in the game. If I remember correctly, it should be somewhere on here. Let's see. There we go. Yeah, the mushroom, which later is going to be used to get the magic powder. Yes, magic powder is very useful in the game if you actually know how to use it. But we try not to go into details first. Let's see what we can find here. Right, the first piece of heart, if I remember correctly. This is always the one that we get first because we don't really often come here much later. And this guy's going to tell you about that one thief who can open any locks. He's going to be very important later in the game in a 100% run because you're going to get a magic bottle. So, but now let's make our way to Kakariko Village and do some side quests before we go to the first dungeon. And here we are in Kakariko Village, and also the iconic Kakariko Village theme, which is going to be used in the Ocarina of Time as well. Exposition. So yeah, we're supposed to look for another NPC who can tell you the location of where you're supposed to go next. Which technically you can skip all this if you really know where they are, but since we're gonna do a casual playthrough, this is not a speed run of any sort, so we are just gonna do whatever we can. Right here, we go through the first cave and get some bombs, which is very convenient. Bombs are gonna be used a lot in this game, actually. And there's our second piece of heart. 2 more to go before we get another life. It's not needed for the first dungeon. You probably can survive with just 4 hearts if I'm like, you know, extra careful and stuff. But there's no harm trying to get one first. If my calculations are correct, we actually can get 1 extra, you know, full heart piece before even going through the first dungeon. But I might be wrong, so we'll see how it goes. As I mentioned, money is quite important in this game, so we're going to try to collect as much as possible, but of course we do have tricks to collect a lot more monies later in the game, but for now we'll just do the basics first, of course. And there's a third piece of heart. This guy here is going to sell you a magic bottle, but I forgot how much is it anyway, so yeah, that's 100, so I'm going to take it right now because we already have 100, so yeah. Magic bottle is pretty useful. You're going to use it to probably store some potions. Of course, we can afford the magic bottle right now, but we cannot afford the potions, but we're just going to take it in case. Now let's raid people's houses because for whatever reason, you know, nobody minds when Link or the hero of time enters your house. Everybody's like, I'm pretty fine with that. You know, yeah, you can come to my house, break the pots, take whatever you want. I don't care. You know, somehow or other, when you're the hero of time, you are like free to do whatever you want. Right here we have the house of the guy who's going to give you the bug catching net. It's a very interesting equipment, to say the least, and it's going to be very useful if you want to use it to cheese one of the boss later in the game. So, but I'm going to explain it much later. And of course, for now, it's useful because you need it to catch bees and fairies, and yeah, most importantly, probably is the fairies. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I never knew about the auto revival using fairies until I played Ocarina of Time. You know? And it's very embarrassing when you come back to this game and then you just realize, oh, if you have a fairy star in the bottle and you die, you get auto revived, and that's like, cool. How come I never thought about that before? Then it's like, you know, I mean, it's very interesting. You know, when you play games much later, then you just come back to older games and say, oh, cool, you can apply the things that, you know, there are new games, you know, that you never knew about before. Right, we come into this, you know, the storehouse-like house, which you can get some extra equipment of stuff which you are short of. You know, if you notice just now that you don't see any cracks in the wall of that house, so, you know, when you're playing your first playthrough of this game, you'll be wondering, like, you know, hey, what is a, you know, random house doing in the middle of nowhere? Until you like experiment with all sorts of things, and then you just realize, oh, I have to bomb it off. Right, so this young boy right here, he's gonna tell you where's the location of that elder you're talking about. But before we even head there, we are just gonna do some additional side quests and maybe get some exposition and stuff. And this old man right here is going to tell you about the fairy of the lake, which we are going to get to later. But let's not forget the back of this house, the most infamous, you know, rear entrance, which you cannot see when, you know, when you're playing this game for first time. A lot of people like might miss all this sort of thing, but it's very important because this is where you're going to get your second magic bottle, and with that you have a total of 2 magic bottles right at the start of the game. But of course it's empty because we don't have anything, so that's just too bad. Alright, down here we have a couple of houses. The library, you know, where you're gonna get that game, that book, sorry, that book of Madura, which you're later gonna use it to translate stuff. Oh, this is the mini game, the gambling one, which, you know, you have to pay some sort of rupees and then maybe get more back. But we're not gonna do that right now. Instead, we're gonna do another side mini game, which, you know, will give us another piece of heart, and we'll finally have 5 full hearts to take on the first dungeon, which is what we're gonna do. So when you're playing this game the first time, you might not notice that you actually can jump over the fence over there. So yeah, a lot of the things in Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past is more like experimental, you know. Yeah, you have to like test a lot of stuff, you know, whether I can do this and if you can't, you know. So I like games like this where they don't really hold your hands a lot, and like, you know, you have to go here and do this and do that, you know. So now that we're done with all those petty stuff, let's head to the first dungeon. We actually don't have much rupees, so we can't afford a lot of stuff. And since we cannot even afford some health potions, we're going to try to conserve our health as much as possible. With that in mind, I'm trying to not get hit as much as possible. But sometimes it's not possible because you just have to run past all those soldiers. The AI is a bit, you know, cranky. They don't notice you. You don't get chased. You don't get hit, which is a good thing. So before we enter the dungeon, let's just speak to this elder who we're supposed to see to begin with. So he's gonna tell you that, you know, you need to collect all the stuff, you know, in order to get a Master Sword, the level 2 sword in the game. But we already know that, so we're just gonna skip through all of those. Yeah, rupees, they are very important in this game. We do have, as I mentioned, a lot of techniques to gain rupees, but they are not important for now. It will be important later, but not now. And yeah, let's see if I remember how to get past this. Sometimes it's okay to get hit, you know, when you're in a rush and you just don't want to fight back because it takes some time. It's always good to bait all these enemies. And here we are, the Eastern Palace, the first dungeon of the Light World. Pretty straightforward at the beginning. As usual, you can skip some of the enemies. But let's take some treasures, because as I mentioned, they're quite important in the game. We're also trying not to miss anything, especially chests and dungeons, you know. We're trying to 100% everything. In an any percent run, it might not matter, but then again, I'm not doing a speed run, so we don't even have a proper category for this playthrough anyway. That's the map for the dungeon, but since I'm going to run on memory, I wouldn't be needing to look at that. And there we have a compass, so now we can know where the Master of the Lair is. Master of the Lair here being the boss of the dungeon. Of course, we already know where they are, or we will eventually find them anyway, so again, it's not exactly necessary to keep it, but we'll take it anyway. It's not necessary to kill all the enemies in the room to open the door, so let's keep it anyway. Try not to wake up that enemy right in the middle there, because we have some techniques to kill him off really quickly. We're not going to waste it. Oops, I think I screwed up now. But it's okay, we have plenty of chance for that. These guys, these annoying guys here, you know, when they touch you, you're gonna lose MP. But of course, that is why I mentioned that I have to do a side quest to get a magic powder later, because the magic powder is the only equipment in the game that actually can, well, sort of like damage them. But and then we have the bow, which is going to be very important in the game much later. But for now, we're going to do a little bit of a sort of a side quest, if you can call it that way, to prepare ourselves for the boss battle. So right here, there's going to be a room where we can actually get some rupees. It's not compulsory, but as I mentioned, money is very important in this game, so we're just going to do it anyway. Health is not looking good here, so I'm gonna try to get HP whenever I can. I keep missing this guy. And now it's time for the first boss battle. And there we go. So yeah, this is the Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, and we just got past the first dungeon. I hope you enjoyed the playthrough. If you like what you see, leave a like and possibly subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next part. Thank you very much.